Hey, what's up, guys? Got another video here for you. This is Tuned in Sports. My name is Bryson.
I'm Steve.
And today we've got the Week 9 Pick'em coming at you. Wrapped up Week 8. Now we are on to the next glorious week in the realm of National Football League. So I say let's just hop right into it. Game number 1, we've got the Green Bay Packers on the road at San Francisco. This is the Thursday night game. I think at the beginning of the season, this was probably one that you circle as must-watch TV because, two quality teams. But with all the injuries going on in San Francisco, I don't know even who's quarterbacking. It might be, I think it's probably going to be Mullins based on the fact that they brought him in when Jimmy G got hurt last week. But either way,
I think the bigger piece is Kittle going out.
Well, yeah,
last week. So I think that's going to be a big problem. But again, here you go, right? It's everybody and their brother is going to be betting Green Bay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because no Kittle, no Garoppolo. The Niners are going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
You watch, they'll come out and have a spirited event and give them all they want and possibly knock them off.
Yep.
I mean, I would not be surprised at all. Now, I'm going to say, with that being said, that I would pick the 49ers to lose this game.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go with Green Bay here, but I would not be shocked at all if Green Bay ends up losing this game.
Yeah. Again, like I said, at the beginning of the season, this would be a different conversation because San Francisco has handled Green Bay the last couple times they played. Yep. I mean, in the NFC Championship, that was never even a game. So I feel like San Francisco kind of has their number a little bit, but with all the injuries, unfortunately, I see Green Bay winning this game.
Yeah.
So, all right, next game, Denver Broncos at Atlanta Falcons. Wow. For me, I would say this is kind of a toss-up. I think Denver is playing spirited football. I think if they want to do something this year, they kind of have to keep winning. Mm-hmm. But on the road at Atlanta, that's going to be a tough one. But I'll go with them. I'll say Broncos this week.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a tough game. I think Atlanta's kind of finding their form a little bit here in the last couple of games. So I actually think Atlanta probably pulls an upset here, if you want to call it that. So
yeah, I think it's kind of a pick-em. I could see either team winning.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Denver won. I mean, they've definitely got defense. But
yeah.
It just seems like Atlanta's kind of hitting their stride all of a sudden here.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, Denver with defense and everything, they could easily pull the upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's going to be a pick-em, but I'll take the Broncos and one for the Falcons. All right, so next game, Seattle at Buffalo. I'm really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. Buffalo, they've had a couple of not great performances in a row now. They lost to the Chiefs and they lost to the Titans, and then they didn't look that great against the Jets. So it's kind of unsure of really where they're at. You have a pretty good idea of what Seattle looks like. Mm-hmm. Their defense isn't very strong, but Russell Wilson and Metcalf is a boss. Oh. And so, as a matter of fact, he's now all of a sudden being called like LeBron Jr. or something. I was reading something about LeBron gave him the nickname Bron Jr. or something like that. So, anyways, this is a tough one because Buffalo's at home. If Seattle was at home, I would say Seattle all the way. But Buffalo's at home. They haven't been looking as good over the past handful of weeks, but they are coming off a bye. I'm going to go with the Bills at home. Even though I think Seattle is probably the better team, I'm going to take the Bills coming off a bye week.
Okay. Yeah. Hard to argue that point. The Bills have not looked quite as good. But, this Bills team is miles ahead of where they were a few years ago.
Yes.
As far as the talent level and just the familiarity with the offense and everything for Josh Allen has been, he's been tremendous. And he's definitely turning out to be a nice quarterback in this league. So,
yes.
I could definitely see a scenario where the Bills could pull it off. But I think I'm going to go with Russell Wilson in this one take the Seahawks in a close one.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I think Seattle's a better team, so they probably should win. All right, next game. Chicago Bears at the Titans. Speaking of interesting games, this is another one that is very intriguing. Should be a solid matchup. Chicago's coming off a loss to the Saints in overtime. And Tennessee is coming off a loss to the Bengals. Who's gonna rebound? Tennessee. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I just love the way that like Don's talked about it in the past. If you guys have watched other videos on this channel, Tennessee just plays a great brand of football. Chicago kind of plays similarly though. They got a lot of big hawking receiver guys and Allen Robinson, and then they've got a good running game, or at least they try to. Tennessee, though, I think they're a better team, and they're at home, so I'm going with them.
Yeah, this is an intriguing matchup to me. Chicago got off to a really good start, and they're better than what I thought they were going to be. However, we're kind of treading in those waters right now where, they come out and lose this week. And all of a sudden,
all the talk,
you got all the chatter about, Foles shouldn't be starting, and all the Trubisky fans are going to be like, hey, what are we doing here? So, I don't know. I would have to agree with you. I think Tennessee's probably the play at home. Chicago's definitely got enough defense to hang in the game, though. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled a victory out of it. Mm-hmm. But I'll go with you and say Tennessee.
Before we move on, sad thing is that if they would have just gotten Teddy Bridgewater, we wouldn't be having this conversation. No. I'm a Foles fan, but he wasn't the play for him.
No.
It should have been Teddy Bridgewater. He was still available when they signed Foles.
Yep.
They picked the wrong guy. Look at how, and we'll get into the Carolina game in a bit, but you see how he's playing. Yep. He's great, and it was a mistake to go with Foles, in my opinion. So anyway, next game, Baltimore at Indianapolis. The Colts actually were the ones that just came off of beating the Lions. They're at home, and Baltimore just came off of a disappointing loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, what do you think on this one?
I see Baltimore putting a hurting on them, is what I see. The Colts are a decent football team. And I know Phillip Rivers had a good game last week. And I'm not saying he's not capable of still having good games because he proved it last weekend. But the Ravens' defense is a much different breed than the Lions are going to throw at him. So
just a little bit.
I think he's going to be seeing some turf time, and I expect the turnovers to be a factor. I think Baltimore gets at least 2 picks out of this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Indianapolis is a weird team. I think, what do they have, 1 loss only on the record? and I think, wasn't it to the Jaguars? And they beat everybody else, but I just am not at the point where I am ready to take them seriously. Mm-hmm. Just because I feel like a lot of their games have been against not as good teams. Mm-hmm. So they're a weird team. They are at home. That'll help them. But I could see this one getting ugly pretty quick. Like you said, I expect a couple of picks at least from Phillip Rivers on this day. They have a pretty good defense. So, it'll be the usual Lamar Jackson thing. If the Colts get out ahead, they could easily win this game. But I don't see it happening. I think Baltimore, especially coming off of that heartbreaking loss to Pittsburgh last week when they had the lead most of the game and gave it up at the end, I think they're looking to put a hurting on somebody, and Phillip Rivers might be the candidate, unfortunately.
No,
so
I'm in full agreement.
All right, now speaking of Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina, coming off a bye week actually, they played Thursday night. They lost to the Falcons. And then they're taking on the Chiefs, who came off a difficult win against the Jets.
A nail-biter against the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chiefs are at home. Unfortunately, I don't think it really matters who was at home for this game, even if there were fans. Carolina is getting better. They're miles ahead of what most people thought they would be, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think they're competing in every game, just about. Mm-hmm. So I look for them to actually keep it closer than reading this, what you're probably thinking. You just see these teams and what the expectation for the score would be, just reading those two teams next to each other. I think it'll be closer than that, but I just don't see them winning this game, unfortunately. So, I hope they do well, but I don't see it.
No, I just strictly think they're outgunned.
Yes, exactly.
The one nice thing though for the Panthers is what's his name? The running back will be back this week.
McCaffrey, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be back. So that could provide a spark for him.
Yep.
And take nothing away from Carolina. I think they're better than the record shows. And like Bryson said earlier, Bridgewater's played very well. Mm-hmm. And he's proven to me that he's a legit quarterback and really nothing but positive things to say about him.
Yeah, and he's proven to me that Carolina is an organization that knows what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? Cam, as much as I'm a huge Cam fan, he's came out and played like crap for the majority of the year, and they brought in the guy that I thought should have been the first name on everyone's list, and he's came out and performed as such. So, great job by the Panthers. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Carolina will be in the game, but I just don't think they have enough. So
yeah, I'm with you.
All right, Detroit at Minnesota. The ever so exciting divisional games for the Lions. Detroit didn't look very good last week, and Minnesota looked really good against Green Bay, but they haven't looked very good all year. Mm-hmm. So I really think this is kind of a toss-up. I think Minnesota is probably better than their record.
Yep.
But they also, if they were that good, their record would be different. So I don't really know how to judge them. Mm-hmm. In some respects, I guess you could kind of say the same for the Lions. But I also feel like they're a little bit easier to judge because for the most part, they've lost to the teams that I thought they would lose to. And they've beaten some of the teams that I thought they should beat. Mm-hmm. So they're a little bit more predictable. Minnesota, you don't really know what Minnesota's going to show up.
Right. Dalvin Cook's healthy, so he'll be playing. And he played last week and made a huge
4
difference
touchdowns last week
in that game. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, Detroit seems to have problems. The one good thing for them is they're not at home. Detroit seems to be really struggling at home.
Yeah, they're on the
For whatever
road.
reason, I don't know why. They play better on the road than they do at home. So maybe that's a good sign for the Lions. But I hate to go against my Lions, but I'm going to have to do it. I think Minnesota beats them.
Yeah, if you look at how the teams have played thus far this year, I think this is a game the Lions have to win because I think Minnesota's struggling.
Yep.
And so this is a game that the Lions have to win. I'm going to go with the Lions. We'll see.
I hope you're right.
We'll see.
I'm definitely rooting for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions only because they have to win this game if they want to stay in the division. They have to.
I think personally, if they lose this game, get rid of Matt Patricia chance going back on.
Yeah.
And
well, if it didn't already from last week, but especially if they lose to a division opponent, that just amplifies it.
Right. Well, I mean, especially when Minnesota's not.
They got
well.
2 wins this year or something? Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, like you said, I think it's a must-win for Detroit. I mean, every game is a must-win pretty much for them because
at this point, yeah.
I mean, the coach his job's on the line, and so I mean, they can't take any week lightly. And,
no.
I mean, there's absolutely no room for, error.
Mm-hmm.
And last week was just a comedy of errors, is why they lost. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Stafford had 3 touchdowns, but he had a pick 6, and I mean, you can't afford to do pick 6s.
Yep.
And win very many football games.
Nope.
So
can't.
So let's move on to the next game before I get mad.
New York Giants at Washington Football Team.
I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
I really like the way Washington's playing. I think Washington's a team on the rise. I think they could actually be the best team in the division, which is saying a lot when you consider how bad, they've been. But from what I've seen from the other teams in that division, I mean, nobody is really, exciting me. Now I realize that Washington is still a ways away, but I look at the pedigree of the coach and Rivera, and I mean what he gets out of his players and how guys want to play for him, and I mean I just see that being a big piece of this puzzle moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to say that the Giants can't win this game. They very well could. I mean, but I just think right now, the coach Rivera, just got over a bout with cancer. And that's always got to be a scary feeling, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, football is secondary at that point. You don't really care. But I just think that team is kind of trending in the right direction. And, Kyle Allen, I mean, he's familiar with the coach's system. So I'm not shocked by them kind of playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he understands what the coach wants or whatever. He knows what's going on there. It was a really good hire for them to bring that kid in, because I mean he knows exactly what's being run, and so I just think it's a good fit. I mean, as much as I'd like to see Alex Smith in the game, I mean it's hard to fault putting Kyle Allen out there. Mm-hmm. I mean he just has a good grasp of the offense and everything that they want to run.
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington should win this game, especially at home. It wouldn't. I think New York Giants. They're coming off a loss to Tampa Bay, in which I think they played a lot better than they really had any right to. So I could see them using that game as kind of some momentum going into this one, but I could also see them, coming back to reality a little bit this week. And I think that's probably the more likely. I think Washington will win this game. And, yeah.
No.
Like you said, I think they're going to be the main competition for the Eagles this season is Washington, but we don't play them again till week 17, and that game could very well be for the division when we play. Yep. I think it probably will be, actually. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. Houston at Jacksonville. I'm going Houston on this one. Jacksonville's just, they got a mess going on. I think Minshew's out, right? So they probably got, Chad Henne or...
Yeah, I'm not even sure who the backup is now.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. Yeah.
Houston should win that game.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for them not to win that game.
If Houston doesn't, they already fired their coach, so I guess what other ramifications are there?
No, they're in limbo. Romeo Cornell's not going to be the answer. He's not going to be the coach past the end of the season. Not taking anything away from Romeo. He's been around the league a long time, and he's been a head coach before, but not with much success. And so I just feel like that's a team that there's going to be some big changes made there, and I don't foresee him being the coach any longer after tonight. After this year.
Yeah, and I feel like the Houston Texans, they don't have a great record right now, but I also feel like they are a better team than their record shows. I don't think they're actually that bad. No, they haven't won games, but they've been in most of them. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're just getting blasted week after week. So they should win that game. But if Jacksonville could somehow win, I think that would probably be kind of a mistake at this point. Just because what are you expecting to do with the season? It's over. Right. So why get a higher draft pick potentially? But I could see Jacksonville maybe winning just because Houston's kind of a mess. Mm-hmm. But I think Houston should win. All right, next game, Raiders versus at Chargers. This is another divisional game. Should be interesting, I think. I really don't know what to think about it, to be honest, because the Chargers, like we talked about before, they're a pretty game team. They've played pretty well in a lot of the different games that they've done so far. But at the same time, the Raiders are kind of a team. Well, yeah, that too. They haven't won any of them. And I think I read a stat that said they've blown 16-point leads in 4 consecutive games. Yeah. Something like that. That's not that's not good.
No, not at all.
That's not good. And they're going against the Raiders, which seem to be a team on the rise. Mm-hmm. I'm going with the Chargers, though. Okay. I think at home, divisional game, I think they're going to, kind of like we talked about with the Bengals, they need to find a way to win a couple of these games. They've been in them, and they've had leads, but they haven't been able to win them. Mm-hmm. And I think they're one of these weeks, they're going to surprise somebody. And I think it's going to be this week at home against the Raiders. So I'm going with the Chargers this week.
Yeah. No, this game is very interesting to me. I'm going to go with the Raiders, however. I think the Raiders are kind of in a nice groove right now. And, Justin Herbert has played, I don't want to say flawlessly, but, he's played really well. Outside of Joe Burrow, he's played as good as any rookie I've watched play in a long time.
Yeah. Far better than I ever thought he would.
Yeah, he's looked like anything but a rookie. He's made nice throws. He's managed the game well. Last week's collapse against Denver was, I don't know. Especially when you figured, Denver's missing so many guys. To allow that to happen is just ridiculous. My opinion, the talk about changing coaches there is going to be happening soon. If they continue to lose, because Herbert's playing way better than what the record shows.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely not the reason they're losing games.
No.
Not saying that he's not a part of it because it's a team event, but just saying that he's played above and beyond expectation at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now on the Raiders side of things, like you said, they seem like they're getting better every week. Gruden's finally kind of getting his players in there. Everybody's starting to play the kind of football he wants to play. Last week was a kind of a statement game, in my opinion, for them. Like, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We beat a quality football team.
Mm-hmm.
And took care of business in really shitty weather. So, I mean, it was a very good win for them last weekend. So, I'm going to think that they're going to do some more of it this week. And, I mean, even though it's in San Diego or Los Angeles, it's not that big of a deal to travel to Los Angeles, so it's not that much of a problem being a road game.
No.
And, I mean,
no fans. I mean,
right. And even if there was fans, I mean, the
LA Chargers never get any people.
No, well, and I was going to say that the Raiders would have more fans in the stadium than the Chargers probably would.
Yeah, probably.
Just because the Raiders have fans everywhere. They're just...
they're a pretty good traveling team.
Yep, they are.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Pittsburgh at Dallas.
Enough
Pittsburgh
said.
is undefeated.
We might as well not even bother with that.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's undefeated. It's not stopping here.
No.
Ben DiNucci. The question is, how many picks you think he'll have this game? I'm going to go with 3.
I don't even know if he'll be playing.
Oh, yeah, it might be Dalton again.
It could be Dalton. And even if he plays, I don't see it mattering.
No, Andy Dalton, I see him, even if he plays, I see him donating a couple more picks to the record from when he was on the Bengals to the Steelers defense. So, yeah, that's not going to be a game. Miami at Arizona.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think I'm going to say that Arizona ends up winning the game, but it'll be a tough fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tua played his first game this past week. Didn't look bad doing it.
Didn't look great by any means, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's his first game. I mean, a little jitters probably, a little nervousness coming off the injury and first live action, in quite a while. So, I mean, I expected him to have not a rock star beginning.
No.
But I think, he's going to be one of these guys. As time goes by, the more comfortable he gets, his talent's going to start showing through. And I mean, if he is healthy, there was a reason that everybody said that he would have been the first pick if he would have been healthy. It wasn't like, anybody would have not taken him. I mean, it's hard to argue anything against Joe Burrow right now because he's played flawlessly, in my opinion, considering all the stuff going on in Cincinnati. But with that being said, I mean, Tua, I think it's going to be a matter of time, before he's at that level. And Kyler Murray right now is playing a nice brand of ball. The Cardinals were doing a nice job of spreading the ball around the field. Larry Fitzgerald still looks wonderful. Whatever season it is for him, I think it's got to be 17th.
I think he's like 39 or 37.
Yeah, I mean, he's had like 17, 18 years in the league now, so.
And he's still performing.
Yeah, and he's still performing at a high level, not just performing.
Yeah.
So I think that Cardinals will end up winning the game. It'll be close. But yeah.
I think Miami is really good. I expected them to be a much improved team this year with all the off-season moves and things they did in the draft. And, I mean, it's no surprise to see them with the record that they have. With that being said, I actually, if you guys watch the potential video, I don't know if that one's came out yet, actually. So you probably haven't watched it. But I think I know I actually picked Arizona to win the division. Now, this was back at week 2, so keep that in mind. I mean, obviously, Seattle's looking pretty strong right now, but I actually picked Arizona to win the division. That was more of just a sleeper pick than probably a pick made in reality. But Arizona's played very well, and they are definitely not a slouch.
Nope.
So, Arizona's going to win this game. I think Miami is going to play them tough, but I do think Tua's going to have some turnovers this week, unfortunately. And that's going to be hard to overcome, and I don't think they're going to. So, all right, next game, the Sunday night matchup, Saints at Buccaneers. 2 straight Sunday night matchups for the Bucs in prime time. What do you think?
I look for the Buccaneers to get the win.
Yes.
Not that I'm down on the Saints too much, but it's also going to be the first game for Antonio Brown, and I expect nothing but big things from him. That guy is, aside from being a nutcase, if he's got his head on straight, that guy is still probably the best receiver in this league, and second to none talent-wise. If anything, I mean, they're just replacing, an all-pro with an all-pro. And in this case, I think this all-pro is even better than the one he's replacing.
Yeah.
So if Antonio Brown's got his head on straight, I mean, look for big numbers from this kid. He's not messing around.
Yeah.
And because Tom Brady's already got some familiarity with him, and he had success with him when he was in New England for the short time he was there, I look for more of that to be the same. And, they're taking a chance on Antonio Brown, but in my opinion, they're not really taking a chance. They got nothing invested. And he was guaranteed no money.
Yeah.
So he's got motivation to keep on the straight and narrow. And, and if he does, and he's, healthy and they allow him to keep playing, he could be a totally difference maker.
Yeah, that
could be the biggest transaction made a whole season.
Yeah, well, we talked earlier about how if he, does what he's supposed to and keeps his head out of the clouds and stuff, that could be a Super Bowl attending, maybe not Super Bowl winning, but at least making it to the Super Bowl move.
Yep.
Right there. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Not only because of Antonio Brown, but I just think, the Saints beat them the first time around in New Orleans. I see them having the series regardless of anything, I thought that would be the case anyways. Mm-hmm. I saw one team winning one game, one team winning the other. The fact that the Bucs lost the first one, I think Tom Brady's a little more familiarized with the offense, the weapons, stuff like that. He's added more weapons since that game. I don't see the Saints winning, especially because, the Saints' defense is not very good. And Tampa Bay's got weapons all over the place. And on the other side of the ball, I don't think the Saints have performed as well offensively this year, partly because Michael Thomas hasn't been playing. Mm-hmm. But I think they're struggling a little bit more than we're accustomed to seeing. Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been that as good as maybe as he has been in the past, and I just see the Bucs winning. Last game, Monday night matchup, New England at the Jets.
This is definitely a game that I don't know what they're thinking putting this on a Monday night.
Yeah, with all the intriguing matchups we mentioned, you'd think you could come up with something better than this, but
as bad as New England's playing, they're still probably a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets. This is pretty much a game that I don't see there's any chance that New England loses this game. And truthfully, it's a game that maybe Cam Newton can maybe get on track and do some good things and get some confidence going. Because I think that's one of the biggest problems right now with him is I think he just doesn't have a confidence level. I mean, you never, ever, when he was in Carolina, would have heard him say, I may need to be benched.
Yeah.
I mean, and he came out and said that. That's not a Cam Newton statement. I mean, to me, that's a guy that just is like, what the hell's going on? I don't know. And, I mean, and truthfully, I'm not here to sit here and say Cam Newton's the greatest quarterback or anything like that. But I think what this really speaks to is the lack of talent around him on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Tom Brady, you can say what you want about Tom. He's done a wonderful job of masking how pathetic that team was offensively.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Cam, but Cam Newton hasn't been able to get anything out of this team, since arriving there. They played one good game and lost to the Chiefs, but they were in the game. I thought he played really well there. But, I mean, to me, that just tells you how good Tom Brady's been, because he had the same weapons that this guy has, and they were never, 2 wins at this point of the season.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's plenty of blame to go around with the Patriots right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think people are jumping on the Patriots only won because of Brady bandwagon a little too fast, trying to take all credit away from Belichick in terms of his great status as a coach. I mean, I get it, I guess. You got a similar team as last year, and Brady left, and you got in another guy that was supposed to be, in my mind, I thought he was going to be an improvement, and I'm a fan of his, of course, but I really did think him going there was going to potentially have them better than they were last year, because I really thought that at this point in their career, Cam is a better quarterback than Tom, I think, or I thought. So I really thought that the Patriots were going to do great things, but, again, what does he have to work with? Nothing. Yep. He's got, a couple running backs, Julian Edelman, but Julian's been hurt.
Well, basically they don't have any talent left.
No.
Everybody's either been shipped out or have left.
Yep.
So losing, I mean, Tom Brady, like I said, did a great job of masking the deficiencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, with that being said, though, like you said, they'll get back on track this week. Maybe not back on track, meaning they're making the playoffs or winning the division, but they'll win this game handily. The Jets are just
garbage.
Not even worth talking about at this point. They played better against the Chiefs than I thought they would, at least for a half, so I'll give them that. But apart from that, I mean,
yeah,
they're a mess, and they're only trading away more people now. So it's not even, it shouldn't even be close. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, with that being said, this has been Tune In Sports with our Week 9 Pick'em. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. You guys know the deal. My name's Bryson.
I'm Steve.
See you guys in the next video.